everyone, and welcome back to the Chill English channel. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Jake. Today we're talking about something fun, practical, and very common in everyday life.
English at the cafe.
But before we start, we want to know something about you.
Yes, tell us where you are listening from.
Are you in Brazil, Japan, Spain, Turkey, Vietnam, Mexico, or somewhere else?
Write a comment and tell us your country and your city. We love seeing where our listeners are from.
It's always amazing to see people from all over the world learning English together.
All right, now let's imagine something together.
You are walking into a cafe. Maybe it's morning, maybe it's afternoon.
The door opens and you hear quiet music.
People are talking softly.
Someone is typing on a laptop.
And the smell of fresh coffee is everywhere.
That already sounds nice.
I suddenly want coffee.
Same here.
Cafes are actually one of the best places to practice real everyday English.
The conversations are short, friendly, and simple.
So today, we're going to help you learn useful English you can use when you go to a cafe.
Everything will be clear and easy to follow for A1 to B1 learners.
So let's imagine the moment you walk up to the counter.
The person behind the counter smiles and looks at you.
And the first thing they will probably say is something like this.
Hi, what can I get for you?
This is one of the most common questions in cafes.
It simply means, what would you like to order?
Sometimes you might hear something slightly different.
For example, what would you like?
Or, can I help you?
All of these questions mean the same thing.
The person wants to know what you want to drink or eat.
Now it's your turn to answer.
Let's start with something simple.
Imagine I want coffee.
That sounds like a good idea already.
I could say, hi, can I get a latte, please?
That is a very natural sentence.
The structure is simple. Can I get, then the item you want, and then please.
For example, can I get a coffee, please?
Can I get a cappuccino, please?
Can I get a tea, please?
Another very common way to order is using I'd like.
I'd like is the short form of I would like.
It sounds polite and friendly.
So you could say, I'd like a latte, please.
Or, I'd like a coffee, please.
Both of these sound completely natural in a cafe.
Now, let's talk about some drinks you will often hear in cafes.
Coffee, of course.
Latte,
Cappuccino.
espresso,
Americano.
mocha,
Tea.
and hot chocolate.
Now, after you say your order, the person at the counter will probably ask another question.
Yes, they often ask about the size of the drink.
They might say small, medium, or large.
Or they may ask, what size would you like?
Your answer can be very simple.
Small, please.
Medium, please.
Large, please.
Let's imagine I am ordering now.
Okay.
I walk to the counter and say, hi, can I get a medium cappuccino, please?
That sounds perfect.
But wait, maybe you're a little hungry too.
That happens to me almost every time I go to a cafe.
Cafes usually have small foods or snacks.
Some common ones are croissants, muffins, bagels, sandwiches, cookies, and cake.
So your order can be a little longer.
For example, I'd like a latte and a croissant, please.
Or, can I get a coffee and a chocolate muffin, please?
Very simple and very natural.
After you order, the person at the counter might ask a question that surprises many English learners.
Yes, they might ask, is that for here or to go?
This question is about where you will drink your coffee.
If you want to sit inside the cafe, you say, for here, please.
If you want to take your drink with you, you say, to go, please.
Some places also say takeaway.
Let's imagine a short conversation.
Hi, what can I get for you?
Hi, can I get a latte and a croissant, please?
Sure. Is that for here or to go?
For here, please.
Nice and easy.
But that's not the only question you might hear.
In many cafes today, they might ask about milk.
Right, because people like different types of milk.
The person might ask, "What kind of milk would you like?"
You might hear regular milk, oat milk, almond milk, or soy milk.
If you don't have a preference, you can say, "Regular milk is fine,"
Or you can simply say, oat milk, please.
or "Almond milk, please."
Let's imagine another small conversation.
"Hi, what can I get for you?"
Hi, I'd like a medium latte, please.
Perfect.
And just like that, you are already having a real conversation in English at a cafe.
But our cafe visit is just getting started.
Because after you order your drink and food, a few more things usually happen.
You need to pay.
They might ask for your name.
You might want sugar or water.
Or maybe you want to ask for the Wi-Fi password.
And sometimes you might not understand what the person says.
So now, let's continue our cafe visit and practice even more useful and natural English that you can use the next time you walk into a cafe. All right, so you have just ordered your drink and maybe a snack too.
Yes, the barista understands your order and starts preparing it.
This is usually the moment when you need to pay.
In many cafes, the person might say something simple like, "That will be $5."
Or they might say your total is $5.
The word total simply means the final price.
When you hear the price, you can answer in a few simple ways.
Many people just say, "Here you go," when they give the money or the card.
Or you can say, sure, here you go.
If you are paying with cash, you give the money.
And if you are paying with a card, you might hear another question.
The person could ask, "Cash or card?"
Or they might ask, are you paying with card?
Sometimes they will say, "You can tap right here."
That means you can tap your card or phone on the machine.
Technology in cafes makes everything fast now.
Yes, sometimes I feel like the coffee is ready before I even finish paying.
That happens to me too.
After you pay, another interesting thing may happen.
The person might ask for your name.
This is very common in many cafes.
They use your name so they can call you when your drink is ready.
So the person might say, can I get your name?
Or, "What's your name?"
Your answer is simple. You just say your name.
For example, Sophia.
Or Jake.
Then the person might repeat it to make sure they heard correctly.
Sometimes they spell it wrong on the cup, though.
Oh, that happens all the time. I once saw my name written as Sophia, Sophia, and even Sophia.
I once got Jake spelled as Jack. I was a little confused for a second.
But it's all part of the cafe experience.
After you give your name, the person usually says something like, great, it'll be ready soon.
Or they might say, "We'll call your name."
That means you just wait for a moment.
While you wait, you might stand near the counter.
Or you might sit at a table.
Sometimes you may want something extra for your drink.
Yes, maybe sugar.
Or maybe you want a little milk.
Many cafes have a small station with napkins, sugar, and stir sticks.
But if you don't see it, you can ask.
For example, you could say, excuse me, can I get some sugar?
Or, "Excuse me, do you have sugar?"
The phrase, excuse me, is very useful when you want to politely ask something.
You can also ask for water.
For example, excuse me, can I get a glass of water?
Another thing many people ask for in cafes is the Wi-Fi.
Yes, especially if they want to work or study.
So you might ask, "Excuse me, what's the Wi-Fi password?"
Or, do you have Wi-Fi?
Most cafes do have it.
And sometimes the password is written on the wall or on the receipt.
Now, imagine you are sitting at a table with your laptop.
Your coffee smells amazing.
You take a sip and think, "This is perfect."
That is one of my favorite moments of the day.
Mine too, a quiet cafe and a good coffee.
But suddenly you hear someone calling a name.
Sophia.
Jake.
That means the drink is ready.
So you walk to the counter and pick it up.
Sometimes the person might say, "Here you go."
Or enjoy.
You can reply with, "Thank you."
Or thanks.
Simple and friendly.
Now, sometimes small problems happen in cafes too.
Yes, maybe you didn't hear something clearly.
Or maybe the cafe is noisy.
In that case, you can say, "Sorry, could you repeat that?"
Or, sorry, I didn't catch that.
These phrases are very useful in everyday English.
Native speakers use them all the time.
No one understands everything perfectly the first time.
Especially before coffee.
That is very true. My brain definitely needs coffee first.
After, another situation could be when your order is wrong.
It happens sometimes.
Maybe you ordered a latte but got a cappuccino.
In that case, you can politely say, "Excuse me, I think this is a cappuccino."
Or, excuse me, I ordered a latte.
Most of the time, the staff will quickly fix it.
People working in cafes are usually very friendly.
And they understand mistakes happen.
So, during one simple visit to a cafe, you can practice many small English conversations.
Ordering food,
Paying,
giving your name,
asking questions.
and responding politely.
All of these moments are great opportunities to practice real English.
And the best part is that these conversations are short and simple.
You don't need long, complicated sentences.
Just clear and friendly English.
But we still have a few more useful expressions to share.
Because cafes are also social places.
Sometimes you go alone.
Sometimes you meet a friend.
Sometimes a small conversation can start very naturally.
Now, we're going to continue our cafe story and explore how simple conversations can happen when people sit down, relax, and enjoy their coffee together.
All right, so now you have your coffee in your hands.
The smell is amazing.
You find a nice table and sit down.
Maybe near the window.
Or maybe on a comfortable sofa.
This is the relaxing part of the cafe visit.
You take your first sip of coffee.
And suddenly, the world feels a little better.
Coffee has magical powers.
Now, cafes are not only places to buy drinks.
They are also places where people talk, meet friends, study, or work.
So let's imagine another situation.
You were sitting at a table and a friend arrives.
Maybe you planned to meet there.
Your friend walks in, sees you, and comes to the table.
The conversation might start very simply.
Your friend might say, "Hey, sorry I'm late."
And you could answer, "No problem."
Or, "It's okay."
Or, "Don't worry about it."
Then your friend might ask a very common question.
What did you order?
You can answer, "I got a latte."
Or, "I ordered a cappuccino."
Your friend might say, "That sounds good."
Or maybe they say, "I think I'll get the same thing."
Then your friend goes to the counter to order.
And when they come back, the conversation continues.
They might say, "This cafe is really nice."
And you can agree by saying, "Yeah, I like it."
Or, "Yes, it's great."
Small conversations like this are very natural in cafes.
Sometimes people even start conversations with strangers.
For example, if two people are sitting at the same large table.
One person might say, "Is this seat taken?"
That means they are asking if they can sit there.
If the seat is free, you can say, "No, go ahead."
Or, "Sure, you can sit here."
And sometimes a short conversation can start after that.
The person might say, "Thanks."
And you might answer, "No problem."
Maybe they ask, "Are you studying?" Or, "Are you working?"
You could answer something simple like, "I'm studying English," or "I'm working on my laptop."
Cafes are very relaxed places for these kinds of small conversations.
Another common moment in cafes happens when you finish your drink.
You look at the empty cup and think, maybe one more coffee?
That thought happens to me a lot.
Now, if you want another drink, you simply go back to the counter.
And you can say something like, "Can I get another latte, please?"
Or, "I'd like another coffee, please."
The word "another" is useful here.
It means one more.
So another coffee means one more coffee.
Now, before you leave the cafe, there are a few polite things people often say.
If you see the staff when you are leaving, you might say, "Thank you."
Or, "Thanks, have a nice day."
The staff might answer, "You too," or "Have a great day."
These small, polite expressions are very common in English-speaking countries.
And they help conversations feel warm and friendly.
So today, we visited a cafe together and practiced many simple English phrases.
We talked about ordering drinks and food,
We talked about paying,
giving your name,
asking for sugar, water, or Wi-Fi.
and even having small conversations with friends or other people.
All of these moments are great opportunities to practice real English.
And the best part is that you don't need perfect grammar.
Just clear, simple sentences.
And a friendly smile.
Before we finish today's episode, we want to ask you something again. Tell us in the comments where you are from.
And also, tell us your favorite cafe drink. Is it a latte?
Cappuccino?
Tea?
Or maybe hot chocolate? We would love to read your answers.
And if you enjoyed this episode, keep practicing these phrases the next time you visit a cafe.
Real-life practice is the best way to improve your English.
Thanks for spending time with us today here on Chill English Channel.
And we'll see you in the next episode where we practice more real-world English together.